Eyes. Eyes.
Hello everyone, welcome to your next episode of American Kick Punch Karate Fundamentals, and we're going to look at the last part of Jupiter Kata, part number 4. This part contains 3 movements, and before we get into them, I want to remind you that on a jumping kick, the 2 general rules of a jumping kick are 1, either jumping for height, or 2, you're jumping through. You're using the jump to transfer weight. So if it's a hop, it's a hop. If it's a jump, it's a jump. I don't get very airborne. This is me. I kick through things. There are people who get very acrobatic, very high, but they don't go through targets. So we want to either jump for height or we want to jump through the target. I like having a little more hop on the technique and just throwing a little more force. Now, the jump kick on this is calling for a front kick, but you can do a push kick if you like. And we can kind of roll from there. I'm getting eaten up by mosquitoes, which are the Georgia state bird, or I should say southeastern United States. It's our state bird. So, where we ended last, I'm going to do this from the side. We ended up on a left chop. So I'm going to look behind me and I'm going to execute a right hand chop block. Now on this right hand chop block, I'm going to use this to set up my jumping kick. So the first part I'm going to do is I'm going to do a knee raise, and the higher you raise your knee, the higher you can get this jump. So but I want to shift power through my target. You'll have to forgive me while I wipe my nose. It's also pollen season year round here. So we're here. First movement I'm doing is here, and then I'm going to skip and jump and execute the push kick or the front kick into the target. And then you're going to end up in a free sparring stance. So after this, I'm going to hop, kick, don't lose your balance, and then you end up in a free sparring stance, and then you balance. So that's the part. Over here. I come into a free sparring stance. I'm going more of a closed stance. You can end up down here, whatever you want. So that's the part. Very simple. Word applies on this. Moving backwards. I think we're right here. Up here. Then I would turn about face and bow. So it would be here and bow. Phew, pollen has got my butt kicked. So let's start this thing again, and I'll do it forward. So here we are, and I've executed this. Now I'm executing my chop block, and now for the jumping kick. Now remember, I want to cover distance and go through the target, and then I'm going to turn around and now out. I like turning around in a stance. That's just me. Okay everyone, now just as a lesson for you at Nunchaku's Technical Moments. This class or this episode, Technical Moments, is going to be a talk about leg destruction and some kicks you can learn to do leg destruction that aren't too different. You can actually alter your kicks for them. So we're going to get into some Okinawan karate and how we can adapt our American style, or how we can blend it into American kick punch to strengthen your arsenal. Now, these techniques are not graded, but they will be beneficial toward your ability to apply technique. So in the ring or in the street, it does not matter. The principles are all the same. So in Isshinryu, all your basic kicks are essentially leg destruction. So first kick is a straight kick. We have that. So the straight kick would be like the urinary bladder, the groin, top of the knee would all be targets for that straight kick. So if you were to reap a kick and you were to, after you've caught this kick, throw that straight kick for even the femoral artery, any one of those targets on the leg, you're going to get a response. Likely you're going to end up making them fold or making them easy to fold. So when I catch, when I reap, I kick, rep, and force down. So for the straight kick, that is just an example. So anytime in kata you see an open hand side block, treat it like a reap, because that's essentially what I'm doing. So the first one would be front kick. So, and start out comfortable on the front kick, and then I want you to try something, and that is peeling off the ground with the front kick. So you're going to drag the foot, get that friction, and then you're going to snap the kick out. What this is going to do, and I want you to feel it before you do it. Actually, do it on the knee first. Do it on the knee first. So throw a knee, and throw the other knee. And you might be like, well, instructor, for the second knee is a lot more powerful. There's more energy expended. That's because you're opening up your hips. You're turning your hip into the technique. So same thing with this kick. Count, and we throw the kick. We snap the kick. So I'm dragging, and then I'm kicking. Next kick that they learn is what they call cross stomp kick. So the cross stomp kick in MMA is referred to as an oblique kick. Where this is going is, now when I first started in Isshinryu, they taught it for the side of the knee as a knee breaking technique. Well, yeah, it does break stuff in the knee, but it doesn't break the knee. You can't put the patella on the side of the leg with this thing, but it works better. I know modern Defendo, it is trained to stomp on the middle of the thigh when they're running. And so that kick, how you're going to train for it is you're going to bring your knee up, and then you're going to turn your heel toward the target, and you're just training this sideways. How you train it and how you throw it are actually two totally different things. So you're going to come up and then down, almost like you're just stomping on a book. And get used to pulling your arm over. What this looks like in actual practice is I'm going to throw it for the thigh. So if we're sparring and you throw a kick, I'm going to throw it for your thigh to lock your leg back. So we're here, and yeah, and again, I'm pulling my arms back, because if I've locked their leg and they're beginning to fold from having that knee get hyperextended, I can pull them down. When I pull my weight back, I can pull them down. So it makes you look at the technique a little differently. The next technique is going to be another oblique kick. It is going to be forward on angle kick. It's another oblique kick though. It's the side kick down at a downward angle. And you see this thing hidden everywhere. That last kick is hidden everywhere. Later on, we're going to introduce you to Hanshin. Both these kicks are hidden in the Hanshin. So is your knee. Okay, so on this one, you're going to train it like that. Doesn't look like much. I know for a long time I was like, well, there's nothing to that kick. You can pop a target with it. And then I started seeing it in the wild, and one day I used it, and it works very well. So it is very important this kick goes in at an angle. Your target is here and here, and also incidentally back here as well as here. Anything on the back of the calf to the top of the knee, you're going to see great success with this technique. So you're going to train it like that, and then you're going to train it like that, and then you're going to add a stomping feature. So you're going to start raking it down, and that's coming here. Now, next time my uke joins me, next time Mr. Weaver is here, we'll demonstrate these kicks and show where they go. I'll probably have him kicking me since he's got a bad knee. But the kick is very simple, very easy to do, and your side kick works that way. Your push kick works like the cross stomp kick. You already have the kick. So you already have this kick too. You're just throwing it at an angle and downward. So I want to get that knee nice and high, and then I want to stomp down at a 45-degree angle on top of the knee, or as close to a 45-degree angle as you can get. The next kick is what they call ball foot side kick. And done in the wild, like on the Wansu kata, you'll see them do the shin block and then allow them, after they've shin blocked, to slide that first. You remember the first kick we did on these lake destruction kicks from Okinawan Karate? First kick we did was straight kick. This is essentially the same kick, but I'm facing sideways. And you know, when I came up in Eastern, I was like, why do we have two of the same kick? And a lot of people treat them as the exact same kick. They're not the same kick though. So on this kick, how it's trained on the charts, or how I learned it, we would cover our clavicle and we would slide the foot back like a pendulum. So we've got the hip movement to open the hip up to the kick. And then we would throw the kick. This is actually a counter kick. Or for our purposes, it's a counter kick. It's a very good counter kick. So we're gonna take that lesson and the lesson from the end of Wansu. And so on Wansu, you get into these T positions where you just delivered a hidden elbow. And I'm going to fold that down. So I'm blocking a low kick or a sweep with my knee and the top of my shin, hitting their leg, and then using my position. So using my position to launch kick. So I'm here, blocking, defending the groin and my knee, hitting, sliding, and kicking. And I can lean into this kick. So here, we're hitting and kicking. So that is another variation of front kick. The next thing is a variation of a round kick. And this one we were taught originally throw it for the ribs. And later on, I learned that it's actually for the femoral artery off a wrist twist. So the next one is squat kick. And so I'm going to step at a 45-degree angle like I've got their hand and traction in a kotegesh. I'm going to lean at a 45, and then I'm going to deliver the ball of my foot to right here or right here. And if they're too close, I deliver the top of my shin, or the bottom of my shin, or the top of my shin, or my knee. So you have multiple kicks that can be done here. So I'm going to step at a 45. I'm going to stack, which is a good indication of doing that wrist twist. And then I'm going to throw this for their femoral artery. So again, I'm stacking, and all I'm doing is throwing that front kick at a 45-degree angle and kicking. Next, I'm going to drag the floor, and I'm going to open my hips into the kick. So, and you're going to feel the power in the kick when you do it. From turning your hip into the kick. So, wait, there's more. The next one is the knee kick from Isshin-ryu. So we're going to put our hand here, and we're going to drag the floor. I mean, first, bring that knee up, feel that knee. Then, drag the floor, open your hips into the technique. Condition your palm while you're at it. The next kick we're going to look into is going to be push heel kick, which I believe we demonstrated this before, but I'm going to, as they're choking you, I'm going to pop their elbows, locking them up, force them up, and then I'm going to put my push heel kick into their hip, and the extension of my body will release their hands, or I can sit down and flip them over me. So we're here, and I'm just placing my push heel kick. I'm kicking down the door, placing my push heel kick into their hip or their groin. Again, I like coming up underneath, but you can hook the arms also with some monkey hooks, or hook in arm and push the other one, depending on how you want to end this thing. And I'll let you play with that. So I'm here, and then I just hit. So, and again, I'm leaning back when I do the kick. The next kick is side kick, and we do side kick. So side kick, and when I do my side kick, other than coiling down and uncoiling into the kick, I tend to throw it like a lot of people throw a backside kick. You know, that's what my body is built for. You can snap this if you want, but I prefer driving my heel through the target. So the first thing I do when developing a side kick is I turn my foot. The thing I do is I chamber my hands, bring them up. Now later on you might throw your hands for a little more power and get that torsion out. So I'm then going to pick up my leg and drive my heel down and then pick it up. Very clean. I also want to leave it on, pretend there's a line here, I want to leave it on this side of the line. So that side of the line. So I want to leave it on this side of the line instead of that side of the line, so I get alignment from my hips, because my hips are going to be on this side of the line. So my next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw this thing for the middle of the thigh or the hip. So again, I want to be on this side of the imaginary line. So treat my back like an imaginary line. And so when I turn my hip, I want the foot to be over here. Okay, that is side kick. The next Isshin-ryu kick, oh, drawstring pants. How I love the next kick in Isshin-ryu is also leg destruction. Every kick I've done so far has been involved in leg destruction. So if you catch their leg or you catch their arm, you can lock their leg out or destroy its ability to function. Or if they're a mid-kick, you can check them with any one of these and destroy their ability to function. The next kick is crescent moon kick. And usually you would follow this up with other techniques. I like doing this and doing a front kick off of it, but that's just me. Some people will do this and then they'll do a spinning back kick. I also like that one. So crescent moon kick, I'm going to bring my leg in and then I'm going to straighten it out. My target is their leg. This kick comes from China. So I'm using almost like a hook kick. I'm using this to get into the meat of their thigh. So my next movement on this, you're going to do a few of these, and I want to get it out about a foot from the target. In my view, I want to be about a foot and a half from the target with where the foot would be if it were extended. Then I'm going to extend the foot. So again, I'm going to come about here and start extending the foot to get that snap. That snap is important. So we're here. I'm going to start working on straightening out my leg right about here. So again, what this is going to look like, and I'm going to straighten out my leg at this point. So first, we're going to come here. Then, we're going to come there. Next, and this is the kicker. So after you get used to that snap, the next thing I'm going to do to make this an effective crescent moon kick is I'm going to turn my heel for the meat of their thigh. So it almost feels like a tiny axe kick mixed with a hook kick, mixed with a crescent kick. If that makes sense. It may not now, but it will. And you're going to have to see that from the front. So when I plant this into their thigh, I'm not just coming here, I'm raking it. So that is the next bit of leg destruction from Okinawan Karate that you could implement into what you're doing in American kick punch. My goal is not just to make you effective American kick punch karate practitioners, to make you effective karate practitioners. The next one, and I don't like it because I got ingrown toenails from doing this and the conditioning, and it's not designed for everybody. It's a toe rip kick. And I know that when Shimabuku was teaching the Marines, he taught some of them push heel kick and others learned toe rip kick. On toe rip kick, I want to set my big toe on top of my index toe and my middle toe and create a beak. I'm also going to curve my foot. You can't see it in shoes. That's all right. It's not a kick I personally like. And I'm going to rip for the testicles. So you remember that technique with push kick where we're getting the arms. I'm going to rip with the toes. I'm going to rip those testicles with the toes. Can cause devastation? Yes. Is a special technique? Absolutely. Do I do it? No. Conditioning for it, you've got to hit with your toes. And I ended up getting some ingrown toenails from the training. And while it is effective, I was able to use it in training. The end result was doing really messed up stuff with my toes. So in all training, be cautious about what you're doing. That's one of the reasons why we've not pushed any of our stretches through the series, because we don't know what your physical abilities are. So my ultimate aim is over the next 52 classes, or the 52 classes in this course, is to get you to where you can put the kicks where we need them to go. And so you'll see my kicks progressively getting higher, and I'll be getting your kicks to go progressively higher as long as you stick with the training program. Okay, so this is just kind of a fun little impromptu class on counter kicks that you can use that don't function too dissimilarly from your own. That is very important, to find techniques. If you add anything to this style, find stuff that works mechanically similar to what you've already been doing. None of these kicks are that dissimilar from what you've been doing, because they're variations of the kicks you're already doing. And the kicks you're doing are variations of these kicks. So I'm Instructor Ford. Please join me next week. Hopefully Mr. Weaver will be back in, and we'll do some application or some sparring or something fun. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you next class.